Welcome to today's episode of Everyday Alex. And as you can see, we are back in the studio. This is the first time I think we filmed here in 10 weeks, is it?
Something like that.
10 weeks. Oliver's here as well, socially distancing. He's doing a remarkable job of filming from a distance. So the idea is that we're trying to get back to a regular upload schedule of the vlogs. There may still be some that are not filmed here, but it's really nice to be able to be back in here. And in today's episode, I want to talk about trauma. As you've probably seen at this point, the Trauma and MindBody Super Conference is open for registration. It's free for 7 days from the 28th, I think it is, 29th of June. And one of the questions that I've noticed a few people asking is saying, well, is this conference relevant to me because I don't have trauma? And I wanted to make a distinction between the sort of more classic PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, kind of big T, like major life event trauma, and what could be called trauma with a small t, like the traumas that we've all experienced in life. Anything from not experiencing enough nurturing and holding as a child, which, by the way, most of us experience because most parents have other things going on other than just nurturing and taking care of children. From having had experiences where, let's just say, there were too many loads or challenges or things happening at a particular point in time. Really, trauma is any time that we've had too much of a load on our system, when it's been too many emotions, events, circumstances, like just too much for our system to be able to process at any one point in time. Trauma impacts us all in different ways, but one of the things that happens is it gets held in the body. So when we have significant loads or events that haven't been digested and processed, they get held, they get stored, and they can come out in all kinds of ways. Things from migraines and headaches to digestive issues to back pain, just kind of more classic physical symptoms, to emotional symptoms where we notice that we're more shut down emotionally than perhaps would be ideal for us and our life. There's a sort of level of numbness perhaps we get used to. Or perhaps what happens is that we are really emotionally sensitive, that we're driving along in the car and someone cuts us up. And rather than just like, well, that was some bad driving, we have this whole massive emotional reaction, which perhaps when we break it down is due to not feeling seen. When it really comes down to, okay, we can get seen on the road, but there's a much deeper wound of having not been seen in our life. One of the biggest impacts of going through trauma is a maladaptive stress response, that we escape the overwhelm of the feelings and the emotions in our body, and we go into our mind, and we go into our mind as a way, effectively, of escaping all of those feelings. But then what we start to experience is more anxiety. So we don't feel the emotions, we don't feel the hurt or the sadness or the anger or whatever the feelings might be. We just live in a constant state of anxiety and fear and not feeling safe. And we get caught in what I call the safety cycle, where we feel unsafe, so we go into our mind to try and create a feeling of safety. We try and think our way by imagining all the things that can happen. If that happened, I'll do that. All the ways we think we could respond. So we try to think our way to a feeling of safety. But the result is actually we go even more into our mind. We feel more disconnected because truly a feeling of safety is in the body, not in the mind. So we feel more unsafe, we speed up more. We get in a cycle of feeling unsafe, going to our mind, feeling more unsafe, going more into our mind. So we've all experienced trauma. And it may be a number of small t traumas. It might be a combination of some big T traumas and small t traumas. We're all impacted by trauma. And I know that many people watching this video may be suffering from ME, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, that group of illnesses. That's a major trauma. Beyond traumas having an impact in causing someone to get sick in the first place, the very nature of living with a medically unexplained illness, with all of the symptoms and not knowing why I'm ill, will I get better, should I rest, should I not, what if this, that in of itself, just the experience of being diagnosed with a chronic condition is a trauma. So the Trauma and MindBody Super Conference is 90 of the world's leading experts on trauma and mind-body healing. And it's a series of interviews by myself and Nikki Gratrix, who was a co-founder of the Optimum Health Clinic. It's a series of interviews between us and these leading experts. And I don't like to sort of overstate things, but I think it is the largest ever online event of its sort that's been done in this way. And the list of speakers, I think, is pretty much unprecedented. And I will talk in the coming weeks leading up to the Trauma and MindBody Super Conference, some of my favorite interviews, some of the highlights, might share a few clips of some of those as well. But if you register now, you will get free access to 7 great sessions from the conference. This includes an interview with Dr. Gabor Mate, who I think is probably one of the most best known authorities on trauma, particularly through books such as When the Body Says No, a book about trauma and chronic health conditions, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, a book on addictions and trauma. Professor Bessel van der Kolk, the author of The Body Keeps the Score. Also, Nick Ortner, if you've ever come across tapping or EFT, he's the creator of the Tapping Summit, the largest online yearly annual event on tapping and EFT. There's also a session with myself that I'm particularly proud of, where I talk about some of my own life traumas and some of the impacts that had and some of the paths that I found to healing. So if you're interested in finding out more, please do register. You can sign up for free. The link will be in the description underneath for the Trauma and MindBody Super Conference. I'd love to have you as part of it. Each day for 7 days from the 29th of June, the sessions that day will be completely free to watch, but the free registration gifts are available right now. So coming up on Everyday Alex, my goal is to do a live episode on Monday, fingers crossed. We then have the latest episode of In Therapy. It's a session where we're catching up, I believe, with Hannah on Tuesday. And then next Wednesday, we'll have the third in our 3-part series with Sanna Anderson from the nutrition team at the Optimum Health Clinic, where she and I have been doing a series talking about digestion and recovery from chronic fatigue. So thanks for watching and look forward to seeing you in next week's episodes.